This one's going to be on Rise of Kingdoms again. So, we had Snowy Storm ask me to do some more ROK videos, so I said, alright. So, we have no pictures here. We have power, 574,000, 4,000 kill points playing as Britain. So I do believe that means you get the more Boudica. Yeah, the booty cards. Oh, we can't spin the champions, so we can't see that.
I fight for my lost freedom and my outraged daughters.
So I believe that means peacekeeping hero for early game. Bonus damage to barbarians. So, yeah. So this video is going to be actually something different. This is going to be story time with Atlas. So, I've been telling everyone that this is my first time playing ROK. That's not actually true. I played ROK before I started playing Call of Dragons, actually. And my experience with ROK is a bit different. Where were we? So back then, this is 4 years ago, we played in what's called a jumper groups. So that's what I decided to do, is I decided to join this jumper group and join this Discord. So I was playing with this jumper group. And how jumpers worked back then is you couldn't get past Kingdom Hall either 7 or 8, and you maintained a, like, noob's teleport. So what you could do is you could get all of your buildings, all your hospitals, all your farms, everything to level 7 through that week, and you trained T1 troops because you couldn't get T3. Your Kingdom Hall's too low. And what happened is you set up all of your buildings to move up to be level 7, and then it gave you a week of training, and then you saved all of your side quests to claim when you moved to the new kingdom. So it gave you about 7 days head start of everyone else building their building, right? Starting on day 1. So everyone else is starting on level 1, and you're already level 7. Town Hall, City Hall 7, and then you just need to move to City Hall 8 then, as soon as you move to the new place. So you've already got a bunch of T1 troops, you're developing, you've got all your tech to that point that you can in your academy, is all maxed out, all that kind of stuff. So that was the typical way that a lot of people did early game, unless they were going to be a high to mid to whale spenders, is we would do jumping. So we're in the south area, and I believe we were actually at this one here. We're at one of the 2 level 1s. I don't remember the body of water. I don't remember the water there. So I think it might have been this one. So the gates open up, these Sanctum of Courages was opening. Now we're a jumper group, we're all level 7. That's it. And except for a couple of our whales decided they're gonna stay and they're gonna migrate later. So we're going to go and jumping, and this Sanctum opens, and we want to get the Sanctum rewards before we jump the next day. So all of us, we're on the left-hand side, and there's another alliance on the right-hand side that's fighting us for the Sanctum. Now, we're the jumper group, they're not. They've got T2 units, they've got some T3 players, and we're just absolutely getting crushed. We are fighting, and we're having this big war here, trying to get this Sanctum before we leave so we can get the rewards. And of course the other people are staying, so they're like, well, the Sanctum should be ours. So I'm in Discord just chilling with some of the other members there, and we had this gentleman, we had this person, I shouldn't say gentleman, we had this person in there, fantastic guy, really nice, I shouldn't say guy, really nice person, we had this really nice person in there, called Big Gay Boy. And we're chatting, and he's like, "Don't worry, guys. He was one of our high spenders. He wasn't one of our whales at that time." And he was like, "Don't worry, guys. I'll be there in a few minutes." And we're fighting. I'm like, "Okay, man. Like, you need to show up. Like, that's gonna be you'll help us get it, and like, whatever." So we're fighting, and he's like, "Do you guys mind if I put on some music?" I'm like, "Okay, go right ahead." And he blasts through Discord, and you can hear it on the other side. He blasts, what is that? Lizzo, Somebody to Love, at the top volume.
Oh, 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 am I ready? Ain't no doubt. Am I ready? What you talking about? Am I ready? You gon' figure it out. To be loved, to be loved. Am I ready? You can serve it now. 'Cause I want it. That's what I'm talking about. Am I ready? You gon' figure it out. To be loved, to be loved.
And so this comes on, and he is just jiving in this song. He's like, "Sorry guys, I just love this song so much right now." And he's like, we're like a minute into the song, and he ports in here in the top right hand corner. He drops in. Now, for embellishing the story to make it better, he's Kingdom Hall 25 T4 troops. I actually believe he was only Kingdom Hall like 23, to be honest, with 22 or 23. But he drops in with a full lineup of 5 marches, full T4 troops. So he ports in and just drops. You've got this, all of our castles are like this because it's level 7, right? All of our castles are tiny like this, and he's got this monster of a castle, this level 25 monster of a castle drops in. He's playing at the top of the volume that you could have. Like, his house is shaking, it's so loud with the bass and the subwoofers. And he just casually walks his troops coming here to just swarm the sanctum. Now, all these players are running away. They're fleeing from this guy because these are like low spenders. They're like, I think their top player was Kingdom Hall, City Hall 18. That was their top player, was City Hall 18. I'm surprised I can remember all this like 5 years later, but I remember this vividly. He was level 18, and this guy's 25. Like, there's nothing they can do. And one of their T3 players just runs up to him and starts attacking his troops as he's walking this way. And so he lets it go on from like here to just above these trees. He lets them just attack. He's doing some counterattacking, attack, and he gets just past these trees and he turns his army on him. And that guy ran all the way back to his home after that, and he sent like one troop of his over to attack everybody, and they all just ran back in their houses. But I just remember it so vividly. So he uses his 4 marches to swarm the sanctum. I am laughing my head off as these people just lost to Big Gay Boy blasting on repeat. And to me, it was one of the most hilarious things that ever happened. Now, about a day later, what ended up happening is I was in Discord with a bunch of them, and I think I talked about this in my day 1 video, but there was a guy there that worked as I think it was something along the lines of electrician, but he worked at camps, so he had a contract with his company in the UK to work at these camps in the United States, something like that, or he was from the United States working in the UK. And what happened was his contract per year was he was paid a salary of between $200,000 to $250,000. He used that to live on, and then every month they would pay him a bonus of working at these camps. So he would work at these camps and get like $15,000, $20,000 bonus per month that he worked at these camps. and he would use his bonuses on ROK. And so they're telling me about like spending limits, and it's like you're a low spender if you spend $5,000, like $1 to 5,000. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's insane, that amount of money that people are spending on ROK. And they're like, yeah, you really don't get to whale status until you're spending like $50,000 on this game. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, that's insane. And they're like, yeah, you're a low whale of $50,000. And you can hear it when you watch like Chiskel Gaming, and he'll be like, yeah, I've spent over $100,000 on ROK. So if that's where you want to spend your money, that's all the right to you, right? So that's when I quit the game and I started playing Call of Dragons, was because I liked how there was, in my opinion back then, limited ways of blocking whales, because their top heroes, you had stamina limits. And to me, stamina limits were really cool because then it limited the whales. Now, what ended up happening is you have whales have a first lineup and a second lineup, right? Like that's something that I was doing in Call of Dragons, is having a first lineup and a second lineup for open field fighting. And then you max 2 lineups. So you can just continuously fight and fight and fight. And then everyone else that you're fighting loses out on stamina. So, right, for example, Habibi, if from Vex, right, he had 2 separate accounts at like 100 million power. So once one account had maxed out his stamina, he went to another account, and then he could just go back and forth and keep using the stamina and troops of each of his accounts. So yeah, Call of Dragons is extremely pay to win now. And I think most games drive that way because then the companies are making more money. And we can always talk about, I could always make a video on power creep and why that is one of these days, because I would talk about Ivern in that one. But yeah, that's what caused me to not play ROK, because I then talked to a streamer that was like a free-to-play streamer, and I was talking to some other players, and they were like, yeah, to keep up, a free-to-play account can keep up with a low to mid spender, one depending on how you play, but like you need 5 to 8 farms. So as you can see, we have Mex here with one of her farms. So you needed 5 to 8 of these. What? So like as you went through your accounts, by the time you sent out from your first account to your 8th account to go farming, you're back at your first account sending them out again for farming. So it's like an 8-hour job is how I looked at it, because you're just constantly farming for 8 hours to gain resources that you can keep up with these spenders. And I was like, that is not something I'm gonna do. That sounds boring. The other thing I didn't like is KVK 1 is about 80 days from the start, and I was like, that's too long. Where at least with like Call of Dragons, you have things like behemoths that you can do. You know, in season 1, it's all about behemoths, right? It's all about negotiation and behemoths. So at least you have that to focus on, and you know, racing to get the elites before another alliance does. That's fun. But ROK really doesn't have any of that. So yeah, I'll make another video about what happened in the server and why I'm in DF right now. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed story time with Atlas, and now you can go listen to Izzo.
Exchange! The exile gods screaming from the edges of the dark. Every